Hey, everybody. Welcome to the TEConnect podcast. I'm John Martin.
And I'm Dean Reverman.
Hey, we're back.
We are back.
We took a little time off.
Yes, we're refreshed.
For the holidays.
Yes.
Start a new year.
How were the holidays? Good?
They were, yeah. How about you?
They were awesome because we didn't host a daggone thing.
Oh, that's nice.
So we just got in our car, drove over there, got in our car, drove over there. It was nice.
Yeah. We had my mom over one of the days, but like that's as simple as it gets.
Yeah,
that's
nice.
Get some food.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Feed her, give her some gifts. She's happy.
Yep.
That's all you need.
Yep.
Did you get any cool new gadgets for Christmas?
So
we always have to talk
really.
about tech.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I don't know. Gadgets are becoming less and less in my household just because the kids are getting older.
Yeah.
Phone doesn't need to be replaced as often,
Yeah.
type of thing. So it was like maybe a tech refresh, like AirPods that have gotten old and whatnot. How about you? What did Miles get? Anything cool?
No, I'm trying. Well, I mean, he got all kinds of interesting stuff. Like we got one of those little robots that can talk and move around.
Yes.
And he's barely played with it.
Oh, I was going to say, is it ruling your house at this point?
No, I got him a new Lego Avengers game for the PlayStation, for my old PlayStation 3, and that's become his obsession.
Nice,
lately,
nice. Well, hey,
which I get to play with him too. So it's kind of works out for me as well.
I love those two.
I got a new Apple Watch. My wife did give me a new Apple
nice.
Watch. She said that was the only Apple product she felt comfortable buying me because she's like the whole iPhone, iPads. Because I'm in need of like new stuff probably everywhere soon.
Yeah.
She's like, those feel more personal for you to pick, but the watch seemed like a safe bet.
Yeah,
which this was a big jump. I went from a 1 all the way up to an 8.
Oh, wow.
So I had a Series 1. And granted, we're not talking like, monumental. It's not like moving from an iPhone.
We got to talk about it,
whatever,
though.
But made some changes there. So. All right, so hey, you don't want to hear about our holidays and gifts and crap like that. That's not what you tune back. People tune back in and are just like, oh, is this what this podcast is now?
No doubt. Right.
Unsubscribe. No, we're back. We're going to talk a little bit about. We're going to do some reflecting and some looking ahead. So
yes.
Normally at the end of the year we do a little year in review. We didn't get to that this last year because we had so much other stuff to cram in before the year's out. So we're going to do a little bit of that. We're going to look back. We're going to look a little bit ahead. We're going to talk about some things that challenge, surprise, and interest us from last year. We're going to talk about the channel in general, what we expected for what happened last year, what we expect to come. We're going to do some of our fun little best of lists too of some of the things that we enjoyed in 2022.
Yes.
And we'll talk a little bit about resolutions, predictions. We'll get in the prediction business a little bit.
Dust off the crystal ball.
Stuff that we will look back on in a year from now. I'll have Marco drag up a clip maybe in a year from now. Shame us on how dumb we were on things that we thought were going to happen.
Of course.
I will also reflect a little on the pod. All that plus our usual value to the VAR. What's TEConnecting with us?
Holy moly.
Jammed pack episode to
right
start
out of
the new year. It's time to plug in and get connected.
Welcome to the TEConnect podcast. It's time to get connected.
All right, we're back. Let's get into this, Dean. So let's talk about last year a little bit. Let's do a little reflecting first.
Reflecting.
So so let's think back on 2022. Was there anything about 2022 that really surprised you, that disappointed you, challenged you, excited you? And this can be anything: personal, professional, the world of news, pop culture, business, technology. Just give me some stuff.
I got a couple surprises
last year. Okay, let's hear it.
It started right out of the gate, just being here in Cincinnati. The freaking Bengals went to the Super Bowl. I mean, that was like the biggest
I didn't put that
surprise.
on my list. Yeah,
it's like,
no doubt.
What? That wasn't really on anybody's radar. We got Joe Burrow, and we're like, okay, we're like 2-3 years away from being, qualifying for something like, or getting to that level. But man, right out of the gate, and then they're doing well again this year. So I don't want to jinx them, but we'll see.
Still, it's an exciting time to be a Bengals fan.
Exciting time to be a Bengals fan.
We were just talking about the Reds ahead of time, and not an exciting time to be a fan of them. But at least we got something to root for around here.
So I was surprised. Are you surprised at how quickly crypto, just the demise of crypto? It just unraveled.
I was thinking about that because I was reflecting, and we'll get to our episodes from last year and looking back on some of our episodes. And I saw the one we came across with John Decker that we did about cryptocurrency and its place in the channel or whatever. And I remember the fun thing about that one is I remember he was talking about starting like a Coinbase wallet or whatever, and a week later that tanked
and got hacked or something like that.
Something went wrong with that or whatever. But to your point, yes, in just a few short months here, we've seen the world of crypto.
Whatever that
take a
Sam
steep
guy
dive.
is in FTX and just off the cliff. cliff hard. Stuff like that. I guess the world just happens so quick these days, right?
Yeah,
I mean, maybe something like that might have taken a year or two to marinate. Oh no, or we're talking months. Boom.
I'm not a big "I told you so" guy, but that's one of those things I looked at and saw and said,
"I told you so."
I don't want any part of this. I understand people are making a lot of money off this, but I don't know that I want any part of it, and I feel pretty justified in that that feeling at this point.
Yeah.
So.
And then the other surprise, which is not funny at all, I'm surprised we have war in our conversation with what Russia, invasion of the Ukraine. I mean, come on, really? We're doing this kind of stuff again, and it's just like, right?
Yeah.
Just to be in that kind of situation, very, very surprising that we're here. But anyway, those are my surprises.
Okay.
I got some disappointments,
okay,
but what are some of your
surprises? You can go ahead if you want to read disappointments.
Well, disappointments would be the stock market. You looked at your 401k lately?
I have not, for good reason.
I guess it's fresh on my mind because I talked to the guy, whatever. I don't have a lot of money, but there's a dude over at Merrill Lynch that likes to call me once a year and just, hey, how's it going? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, it's going pretty bad because the freaking stock market tanked 30% last year.
I can't imagine he's having a lot of great conversations right now.
That's one of those
can't
days,
imagine there's too many people he talks to that go, oh, this is fantastic.
Very disappointing. And staying on the financial front, the whole inflationary thing. I mean, well, I don't understand why people don't understand that if you just flood the economy with money, that's going to have a negative impact on the whole thing. So that's been kind of interesting. And then the final one are these Twitter files. I mean, I don't know what to do with all this stuff, but man, I'm telling you, there's bad stuff. That's really disappointing. To me, that's just in the category of disappointing, all the stuff that has been going on there. And I don't care which way you lean politically. Right. It's wrong. A lot of the way what's been going on there is wrong. So,
gotcha.
Personally, though, one thing that I will be lighthearted about, we're doing a ton of air frying. You like air frying?
I do
this is
like
one of those things I never thought we... As a fan, now here I am speaking as though I'm the chef spokesman of our family, which I do the dishes, just to be clear. I don't do the cooking. So Patty does all the cooking, but I'm telling you, and she was always like, no, she's over the oven, whatever kind of a cooker. Man, the air fryer is, if you can master that thing, there's nothing you can't put in there.
I have not used mine probably as much as I should have, but I do enjoy it. It's one of those things like if you, again, anything that you would normally fry or stuff maybe that you would just usually put in the oven for a while.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that, like, especially like, for my son, like I'm like, oh, hey, corn dogs, French fries, chicken nuggets, stuff like that.
Like a minute later.
Simple, easy. So simple, so easy. And, a good crisp kind of frying, it's.
Yeah,
I mean, all the oil and grease and stuff. I love it.
Shrimp, chicken, we're putting everything in there. Vegetables, it doesn't matter. You hear it, and it starts. And now my youngest Tori, she's like this master chef with the air fryer. So that was a little bit surprising. Because we were so old school. So anyway, what's surprising and disappointing?
All right, so I was kind of breaking this out this morning and thinking about some of this stuff, and I was looking at there's big news story stuff that obviously was very impactful this year. You mentioned the war in Ukraine. That was one of the top my list too, as a huge event for the past year. I had like the overturning of Roe v. Wade, the all-day school shooting, the death of Queen Elizabeth. I know we don't here in America, we don't care that much about it, but still,
I still don't understand the royals.
I don't either.
And then this whole thing with Spare, the book that came out from, it's like, what are we doing?
Do you watch The Crown at all?
No.
Like, it's a fascinating show to watch because it's one of those shows.
Is it real?
It's all based on. I mean, it's a fictionalized show based on the life of the royal family. So it's traced Queen Elizabeth from when she first rose to the throne, and currently the current season's on is in like the Diana years in the 90s, basically.
Okay. All right.
And it's a fascinating show to watch because there's a lot of stories that you just maybe didn't know enough about because it's not important to us, as much. And then we're getting down to stuff where I'm like, I kind of remember these things happening. And it's the kind of show you watch and you end every episode going, I don't understand why the royal family's a thing. And they're even getting to that point in the show now where like it's when the people of Britain start actually questioning why does the monarchy even exist.
Right.
And I'm like, that's what I've been saying since the beginning of this. So it's a fascinating show.
And maybe that's the American in us, right? Because, death to the king and, what is all that about? But I genuinely don't understand. I'm just not that guy. I'm not an idol worshiper. Yeah. I think everybody puts on their pants in the morning. Everybody's, it's what are we doing? going here? What this? Why are we holding these people? I have no idea.
I don't get it either.
I don't get it.
Well, if you ever watch that show, it'll make you even more so go, why do they do this? Why do they do this now? Maybe I get why it happened at some point, 50, 60, 100,
1600s
plus
or some
1700s.
Yeah,
exactly. But not
today. No.
All right, two strange stories I wanted to call.
All right.
One, we'll keep this one fairly brief because there's not much to say about it. But starting off 2022 with the Will Smith Chris Rock slap at the Oscars is still one of the most bizarre pop culture moments, I think.
100%.
And it was this one I actually was watching live. Like I'm not as always into the Oscars as much as I used to be because I don't get a chance to watch as many movies anymore.
Right. Yeah.
But if I can, I'll turn the telecast on and at least skim through it. And that was one of those moments where I'm like, what was this?
Happened?
What just happened? I don't understand what's going on here. So that's fascinating to me.
Did you see Eddie Murphy's take or whatever for the Golden Globes? Didn't he do something?
No, I didn't watch any of the Golden Globes at all. So
and believe you me, I don't watch any of that stuff. Right? I mean,
I'm more of an Emmys guy.
As perplexed as I am about the Royals, I'm even more perplexed about why we idolize actors, actresses, and then that whole I don't get it.
Right.
But no, anyway, Eddie Murphy had a funny take. He's like, apparently, whatever. We're allowed to go up on stage and do this and this, but you better not say a thing about blah 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 blah. Kind of a thing. It was a funny take. I'm not doing any justice.
I got you.
All right, go ahead.
And then the only other strange story of the year, you mentioned the Twitter files, but I just think what's happening with Twitter in general. This whole Elon Twitter takeover that wasn't, that was again, and where it is now. And it's interesting to me because I know there's a lot of Elon bros out there, the folks that think that he's just this guy that, again, as you mentioned, idol worship,
whatever,
put him on the pedestal.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think before this Twitter fiasco, a lot of folks would have been like, okay, SpaceX and Tesla, like he's come up with this he's been part of these amazing, huge companies that are game-changing companies in space exploration and in autonomous vehicles and technology and stuff.
Right.
And I think this is to me, this is a very classic example of someone whose mystique as part of a giant company and innovation, whether they, and granted, you can question how much he was actually involved in the technology and the discovery and the innovation himself directly. But there's always this mystique around these people. And then I think this is a clear example of someone who wiped that mystique away very quickly to basically reveal himself to be just an overblown Twitter troll that decided to buy the platform just so he could continue to be that troll or something. Yeah. I don't know. It's a fascinating story.
Well, I think there's a part of that.
It's so weird to watch in real time. Yeah. And social media is one of those things that, we've talked about this constantly, is there's so many things that can go well and so many things that can go wrong. And there's so many clear examples of all the things that can go wrong here.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I feel like Elon has just tarnished his entire, whatever his legacy or reputation may have been, has been tarnished. But I mean, obviously we've seen, the stock prices for Tesla has been plummeting. I just read this morning that there's a huge price cut on Teslas that just rolled out all of a sudden overnight or whatever, because, I'm sure it's not just about this, but there's not as much demand as there had been.
Sure.
So it's just, to me, it's been a fascinating story to watch. And I'm just, when I'm on Twitter, I'm over here in my corner, just, following the stuff I enjoy or whatever. I'm not there for the battles. And
me neither. I mean,
but
I follow the people I follow. I'm using air quotes, news, right? It's I follow the Bengals. I follow stuff like that. And you can get, kind of instant. I like the instantaneous measure of it.
Right.
I've never commented. I'm not trolling. I don't get into any of those. Exactly. I don't get deep dives on any threads or anything like that, because I realized very early on that's kind of garbage, right? It's just people on the playground yelling at each other. And it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that aspect of it, and I think people in Twitter just happen to get into that universe. But, I mean, it has been kind of interesting to see. I mean,
it has.
Obviously he got bullied off. Okay, I'm going to buy the company. And then there was the whole negotiation of that,
Right, which turned into his
I'm
whole
not going to buy it.
debacle.
Okay, I will buy it.
Right.
But to me, that was all a negotiation. I don't understand why people didn't see through that. I mean, he was just throwing on the table, well, you're claiming you have all these users, and that's false. Right. It could be really dramatically false, and so I'm not buying something. That was just negotiation.
But and I think the other thing too is this is also another example of someone who is very good at many things, or at least rich enough to make themselves very good at many things.
Right.
thinking that they can therefore be good at everything. And I feel like
Stay
this
in
is
your
one
lane.
of those things he kind of bit off more you can chew and realize like owning a company like this, a massive worldwide social media company that is not about, product necessarily. Its only product is what it is, but it's not like,
but that's just it. What is the product?
Exactly. It's that's just it. There's a lot of people saying like,
is it a platform?
The product is content moderation, really. And yet he wants to get on there and say there shouldn't be content moderation. Like, well, that's kind of the opposite of what you're supposed to be doing here. I don't know. Like I said, better minds than me have written interesting think pieces about this. But I just think the whole entire thing has been an interesting debacle. And I'll hit on that a little bit later when I talk about some of my predictions as far as this coming year. So those are my interesting stories. Personally speaking, the big things for me this year, last year, is we got to go on, my family got to go on some fun trips together.
Nice.
We went to Arizona. We got back to Disney World, when the kiddos a little bit older enough to appreciate it. Where else did we go? Myrtle Beach. We just had some fun little trips and stuff last year. And I had a great time getting out and about with the family. And honestly, it's still just continuously great watching my kid grow up.
Absolutely. That is the joy of life.
He's so much fun to watch, and he's so fascinating to me. And so I'm sure I got many more years of that ahead of me, obviously, and times I'm sure it will be not as fun as others, but I'm loving it right now.
Yeah. You're through most of the tough stuff when you're sleeping at night and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right. Well, let's reflect a little on the channel. Let's get into our actual work sphere here for a few minutes here. So, where do you see where we are with the channel right now? And do you have any kind of predictions or expectations for this year, as far as what's going to happen in the channel?
I had a couple takes on here. What's surprising to me, maybe not surprising, but you're seeing even more consolidation happening in the marketplace. So you hear about it, but man, I'm telling you, it continues to exponentially exacerbate, and usually at the larger VARs. They're buying each other up. So what pressure does that have? That means at the end of the road, there's just going to be less huge VARs out there, and they're going to have a demand and a sway on the marketplace. So what does that mean to the small VARs, or what is that doing to the small VARs? Well, if the larger VARs are kind of commoditizing a lot of the product, the small VARs are now really needing to become specialized. And so you're starting to see a lot of that. We've been talking about partner-assisted ecosystems and the VAR 2.0 and the need to have partners. And that is... it continues to happen. So, we talked about it, but we're going to be talking about it for the next 2-3 years, I'm sure, because these types of things are going to continue to happen. So resellers becoming even more specialized, I think is the other thing out there. And that's why we continue to build the channel's best ecosystem, because it's got to fuel it, right? You're starting to see more of a resurgence in agent models too, which is kind of interesting. And we're getting into that in the PDO side, or the programmatic digital out-of-home side, where we're using an agent model. So there's a little bit of a change afoot, and an agent is like, obviously just kind of representing another company and reselling that product. That's an avenue for resellers now, for VARs now, a little bit more than it used to be. So anyway, those were a couple of things that I'm like, yep, we talked about them, but those are going to be dominant, I think, kind of even moving forward.
Yeah. I don't really have anything to add to this, because I had a feeling what you were going to say was going to be fairly similar to what I was thinking. It is pretty much the same line there. I agree. I think
the only other thing I'll throw on the table then is the supply chain catch up, right?
Yeah.
Like at the beginning of the year, we were still, woe is me, don't have product, whatever.
Right.
Now we're seeing the bullwhip effect, meaning whereas we couldn't get anything, now it's like, hold on, what do you mean you're shipping us all this product? And we keep getting delivery after delivery, and it's like, oh yeah, a surprise.
Yeah.
We were able to produce all this stuff. So, in all seriousness, we see pretty much the whole thing catching up Q1, Q2. Wow. You should not have. Well, for most things, there's no problem getting the product, but certainly by the end of Q2, we'll be there. Right. And now it's just like, okay, how much of that demand is real? Because we've got all these back orders, right, that we're still getting through. And it's like, have those vaporized, or are they still there? So anyway, that was the last thing on the channel.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, we'll get back to some work stuff here again in a little bit. But let's have some fun again here.
All right.
Quick. Let's talk about some best stuff. So one of my favorite things to always do every year is to make lists of my favorite this.
Yeah, you're a very listy kind of person.
I'm totally that person. I'm the guy that just I'm when the end of a year
I'm gonna
comes
sit
along,
back and just listen here.
I'm sitting there absorbing like all the best of movie lists, and music lists, and TV lists and stuff, and agreeing and disagreeing with whatever. So, so I thought we'd talk a little bit about some of our fave, movies, music, books, podcasts, whatever kind of stuff like got us through the last year. Do you want to kick this off?
No, you kick it off. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I'm not gonna spend too much time on movies. I'm gonna dive a little bit into a couple, but on the TV side, Andor. And the Obi-Wan show.
For sure.
Listen to our Star Wars episode. We talked in depth about those. I think those are two really well done Star Wars shows.
Oh, can we ask Marco if wasn't he like behind on Andor?
Oh, yeah. Did you finish more?
Are you all caught up now on the Star Wars front? Yeah, okay. All right, good.
He did finish. He's caught up. All right, we'll talk a little more about that offline then later. So I mean, actually, you know what? I take it back. He was the one who was already done. I think it was Sam.
Sam wasn't finished with one. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. Right. So anyway, good stuff there. Better Call Saul's final season, really, really well done. Very satisfying prequel. You don't see too many prequels that are sometimes necessary or satisfying. It was a very, very satisfying show. If you are a fantasy fan, Lord of the Rings. The Rings of Power on Amazon Prime, House of the Dragon, and I will also point out, too, The Wheel of Time, which has been further back in the year, but was also very good.
Hold on. We have a comment here. We had a thumbs down on one of them over there. Which one were you thumbs downing? Rings of Power? Didn't like it.
Man,
you liked it?
Show. Yes.
Okay, well, I'm going to make a note of that.
It's there was a lot of critique about the show before it came out about the fact that it costs so much. Like it's an extremely expensive show to make.
Okay.
But man, it looks every bit of what it cost. It looked amazing. I very much enjoyed it.
You're saying the story was thin there, Marco?
I didn't like the story.
Didn't like the story. Okay, got it. Yeah, visuals were amazing.
Some of the stuff that people picked out.
Right.
I didn't care about.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Right.
So he wasn't digging the story.
Fair enough.
Digging I very much enjoyed it though.
Okay.
Severance, which I know I talked about on the pod once before.
Yes.
A fantastic series. And HBO Max, for as much trouble as they've got going on lately with their content stuff, still some amazing shows on there. Barry, Station 11, Peacemaker, all fantastic series. So that's my TV side of things. Actually, I take it back. One more TV show I wanted to kind of dive a little bit into is Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which I'm a big fan of all things Star Trek. I always have been. I'm a Star Wars and a Star Trek fan. Those things can coexist.
That's right.
I love them both. Strange New Worlds, though, of all the new Star Trek shows that have been coming out, has by far the most amazing of the new stuff.
Really?
And I didn't expect that because it's basically like original series era, but a little before, like basically just before Kirk takes over the Enterprise.
Right.
Captain Pike, the previous captain in the, maybe decade or so before Kirk takes over, spun out of the Star Trek Discovery show where they showed up there. So you've got the Enterprise, you've got Spock is there already, or Uhura's there. Some of the other characters haven't shown up yet, but you've got some familiar characters there.
Okay.
But it is such an incredibly well done, fun show. It has that, just story of the week kind of plotting. Like there's some underlying threads that are, throughout the series.
Right.
But it's definitely gone back to the classic Star Trek of like, hey, this week we're at this new planet dealing with this new alien race and this new crazy science story that's happened, this new problem that's, tackling the Enterprise.
Yeah.
Such a really wonderful, fun show. If you're someone who has not kept up with new Star Trek, you don't care about the overarching long-term storylines and stuff or whatever, I think this is a show. If you liked any of the old Star Trek, either their old original series or even the stuff from the early 90s, go pick this up because it's a fun watch. It looks amazing. I've never seen the Enterprise look as good as it looks in this show. So it's just a fun, good show. I'll be darned. All
right, fair enough.
On the movie side, let's see, a couple I'll point out. The Batman, I thought was just a ridiculously cool new Batman movie. And you'd think after the whole Dark Knight trilogy that it wasn't going to get any better. And I'm not saying it's better. I still think The Dark Knight is probably one of my favorite films of all time. But The Batman's a really cool new reboot for the story. I really appreciated that.
Did you see it in theater?
I did actually.
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
I do believe I did go see it in the theater. Maybe did I? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. And then I would immediately watch it as soon as it came out on HBO Max also. And then two movies towards the end of the year that I found that I really, really loved. One, Glass Onion, the new Knives Out mystery.
Oh, right.
Did you ever see Knives Out, the first film?
Yes, we just watched that. That was on my favorite movie list. Yeah.
But
we didn't watch it until this year.
Watch the second one, the new one, Glass Onion on Netflix. It is... It's as good and maybe even better in many ways. It's a little bit of a different story, a little even leans a little more into the comedic aspect a bit more.
Okay, all right.
And it's one of those movies also that begs you to rewatch it again. So I watched it, and I told my wife, I'm like, you got to watch this. And watching it the second time, there was so much more stuff.
Got it.
Like the onion of the title. There's so much stuff, layers you peel back, that you find so much stuff that you missed the first time.
Nice.
You understand the actual mystery.
Yeah,
and,
what happens.
All the
and all
stuff
that
that was
stuff.
really going on.
Yeah.
When you watch it again, there's so much new stuff you pick up on. So it's one of those very rewatchable kind of movies.
Nice.
And then I think probably my favorite movie of the year was Jordan Peele's Nope.
Nope.
Which
didn't even hear about
this
one.
At all? Okay,
so
Jordan Peele, who was the director of Get Out. I don't know if you saw that some years ago, which is also a fantastic movie. So this was his new kind of sci-fi horror. Like, there's not as much of the horror elements. It's more science fiction, but it's a kind of a little bit on the scary, intimidating side of science fiction sometimes. Not going to tell much about this, but basically it's about a couple, a guy who runs a horse ranch out in California that lends horses like to film productions.
Okay, yeah,
and
right.
Him and his sister have to figure out what to do about what seems to be a UFO.
Okay.
That is lurking around their ranch, and they're hoping to get the money shot of this to prove the existence of UFOs.
Yeah.
To say anything more about it beyond that would be to give away some
wow.
really great twists.
Okay.
And some turns. And this is another one of those films that has so much nuance and layers to it. There's commentary about Hollywood.
Is it a show or a movie?
It's a movie.
Okay.
Commentaries about spectacle.
Nope.
There's commentaries about stardom, like teen or child stardom, whatever. What happens to those folks when they grow up? So much going on in this movie. Absolutely loved it, start to finish. I showed it to my wife and we got to the end, and she goes, "That wasn't my kind of movie." I'm like, all right, well, it's very much my kind of movie, so cannot recommend.
What's it on?
That one more than enough.
It's on
Peacock now, I think, at the moment.
Man.
I know it's very random.
Can I buy it on Amazon?
Yeah, you
probably?
can. Yeah, you can buy it or rent it on Amazon or Apple TV. So you're fine with that.
All
So
right. Very good. Yeah.
What do you have on the movie TV side before I get into anything else?
Well, so I just had a couple shows that we finally wrapped up. Stranger Things. Still love that.
Yeah,
I don't know if you saw the whole thing of
Yep.
that. I thought that was awesome. Have you been watching Umbrella Academy at all? These are all
I
Netflix.
have not. I've heard good stuff about it, but
It's pretty good stuff. We've enjoyed it. We're actually watching the last 2 episodes tonight to complete it, but we've been very satisfied. And then the really surprise one, and it's just because of the people that are in my home, Wednesday.
Oh,
have you watched it or
I didn't
seen
call it out
any of
because it was. I guess I watched it this year. So
we just finished watching it, and I was surprised at how much I liked it.
I was too, because I'm not an Addams Family person.
Not at all.
And I've never been into the whole Wednesday,
right?
Because she's
no,
such
but I thought whoever that actress is, she nailed it.
Jenna Ortega, I think
she nailed it. She nailed the whole persona the whole time.
Wonderful show.
Yeah, it really was. It was like on my list of I did not expect that.
Yep.
I was watching it because Tori, our 11-year-old, she's like, oh, you should watch it. I'm like, whatever. Okay, I'll watch a snippet, and then didn't stop. Just kept watching. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, it's one of those things. My wife saw it and was like, I'm going to check this out. And she watched it one night when she went to bed, before she went to bed. And I was up watching other stuff. And the next day she goes, I think you're going to want to watch this. I'm like, all right, we'll check it out. And
whatever. Yeah.
Sure enough.
It was just a pleasant surprise.
Blitzed through it in a week pretty easily.
Yeah, exactly.
Had no issues watching it. It was a good show.
But it was good. It was good.
I recommend that. Music side, I'll just toss out 3 albums. Of course, Taylor Swift, Midnights. We talked about my
yes, we did. You're the Swiftie you are.
The Regrets, Further Joy, and Sasha Alex Sloan, I Blame the World. I make a mix every year of my favorite songs of the year. If anyone ever wants that, you're welcome to reach out, and I'd be happy to share.
There you
Actually,
go.
I did share it on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So if you follow me there, I put the whole playlist up there.
Always a good playlist.
Back.
I recognize
over that
very
year,
few songs in your playlist, which is the refreshing part.
Yeah,
about
that's
it,
what's fun about it.
That's
Yeah.
exactly it. Yeah, because I usually don't get into that.
And then on the podcast side, the one podcast I'll single out, which is not new, but one I've been listening to for a while, Greatest Trek, since I'll get back on the Trek theme again.
Right. Yep.
So this is a show. It used to be called The Greatest Discovery because they started out. It's actually 2 guys that have, and I've called this out on the podcast before too, another podcast called The Greatest Generation, where they review old Star Trek, like from the Next Generation on, the stuff from the 90s and early 2000s. They've been going through that, all of those shows. They're in the midst of Voyager right now. Always a fun show. They enjoy it. They rewatch them. They talk about them. They just have a blast reiterating those series. Well, when the new stuff came out, they decided to start a separate podcast feed for the new show. And originally Star Trek Discovery was the new show. So they started up Greatest Discovery, but now there's been all these other new Trek shows. It's a whole franchise, of shows on Paramount Plus. So they rebranded last year to The Greatest Trek, just to cover all.
Got it. Yep.
And one particular series, they were doing this series called Star Trek Prodigy, which is kind of aimed at kids. It's actually a co-production with Nickelodeon. So it's aimed for like a slightly younger audience, but still a fun watch if you're a Star Trek fan. There's lots of little nods to all things Star Trek in there. But they have had, I think, more fun reviewing that show than any others because because it's such a weird show to watch, because there's clearly elements to it that they have to feel like they have to change to fit kids and yet still make it suitable for Star Trek fans.
I gotcha.
And you can tell that boggled their mind for a while. And as the series went on and they kept talking about it, they clearly had just such a ridiculously fun time with talking about it. And they're great at jokes and recurring gags and themes or whatever.
Gotcha.
And it's one of those podcasts that I there's a points when I was listening to it and find myself just laughing out loud, whether it was in my home, in my car, or wherever I was listening to it, just chuckling out loud at how much fun I had with that show.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I got on the fave side. Anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, no. Well, on the podcast side, I've been listening to. What another thing that's interesting to me is how new media is popping up. Right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, everybody's fatigued on. We'll just call it big media, I guess, or whatever. Yeah. I mean, it's obvious who the drivers are behind them when 75% of your sponsorship comes through pharmaceuticals, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, so the podcast, honestly, I think I shared one of them with you. This is Barry Weiss, who used to be a New York Times reporter, is somebody I would generally not ever associate with. But I really appreciate the honesty of that podcast. And then they've got a whole, it used to be called Honestly, now it's called Free Press or something like that. They've been involved in the Twitter files, and releasing some of those. But anyway, been following that. It's a really good, honest pod. Yeah. But it's topical stuff, like news kind of related stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. That wraps up that stuff. Okay, let's talk a little bit about resolutions and predictions. I think we've both established a couple times on the pod we're not big into resolutions.
No, my memory is way too short to do resolutions.
And I don't like to hold myself.
I have zero.
I don't like to hold myself that accountable for anything. But if you were going to make any personal resolutions or any kind of predictions for the year ahead, whether it's personal, pop culture, business again, what kind of stuff?
I'm not into that. I don't know. I had zero here because I'm not a resolution person.
Right.
I do want to try to appreciate the finer things in life. I guess is the only thing I wrote down because I'm going to be traveling a lot this year, and so family time is going to be a little bit more important. Kids are getting older, all that kinds of stuff.
Right.
So the quality of interaction is more important. But as far as predictions, I try to stay far away from that too, because you can only get burned. And stuff like that. What do you got?
All right. Well, I'm going to put myself on the line here.
Oh,
so
boy.
First of all, on the resolution side, I'm the same as you. I don't tend to make those.
Right.
I think what I've always said every year is I want to read more and write more.
Right.
And I will say I failed miserably at the reading side last year. I probably did a little bit more writing last year just because I did a lot more stuff, I think, for us, but I want to write more for myself too.
Yeah.
Definitely reading I could stand. I definitely need to improve that this year.
You'll have time in your life to do more reading.
I know.
It's more fun to play with Miles.
True. I did horrible. That's true. Read or play Lego Avengers with Miles. Come on.
Come on.
But I also, and I'm just gonna say this. I'm not promising it's gonna happen.
Yep.
I do have an idea for my own podcast that I want to start.
All right.
Which will hopefully bring in some guests. I would love to have you on at some point too. Just bring some random folks in.
Sure.
I know. So I've got an idea. I want to get it off the ground. It's been stewing for probably a good 6 to 8 months now.
Oh, nice.
I've gotten a lot of it mapped out of my head. I just need to actually sit down and start doing it. Put it together.
Nothing better than doing that. Yep.
As far as some predictions, okay. So I think, and this is not a particularly surprising one because I've heard other people talk about this too. I think there's going to be some monumental changes in the streaming market.
Oh.
And this year we might start seeing some of that. I think. Okay. I feel like streaming is starting to hit its bubble because there's so many streaming platforms.
Many services.
And granted, there has been several that have folded or been merged with others.
Yep.
And I think this whole HBO Max Discovery thing, Warner Discovery, whatever it is, merger that has led to all this strife over a lot of shows that have been canceled or just completely removed from the service. Shows that HBO themselves had made, but just they decided, no, we're just going to completely remove these from our service. You cannot find them now, but we'll probably dump them off on some of these, pay free or free with ad services or something later. So there's a lot of interesting moving parts going on around that. And I feel like there's going to be some major changes. It may not happen this year, but I think we're going to start seeing some of these rumblings about, where does streaming go from here? And I think that's also going to be tied into some labor issues that I think Hollywood's going to start finding themselves in. There's been a lot of unrest.
How do we get paid? That's
exactly.
Right.
And a lot of that has to do with streaming, because I read a
sure.
fascinating article that it would take too long for me to try to explain it, about how different guilds and unions within Hollywood get paid as far as streaming goes.
Gotcha.
When, we're talking about content that doesn't get put into a theater where there's clear, ticket sales, or put on a regular network where there's clear week-to-week advertising sales and Nielsen numbers to track.
Right.
Streaming is a wild west where basically you sell something to a platform, whether it's week to week or not. Most of these platforms, and Netflix is notorious about this, they don't typically share their numbers. They don't have to.
They don't. Yeah. Right.
There's no real Nielsen ratings for it. Now, there are people that can gauge this stuff based on like social media. They'll go use social media, like, all right, how many millions of people we're talking about Wednesday, for instance. Like Wednesday has been, most people think that Wednesday is one of the most viewed streaming shows of all time. And Netflix has even said themselves it was one of their top shows ever. We don't know what that really means, though, because even when Netflix would release numbers, sometimes they would mean, the most watches would mean somebody turned it on for 5 minutes and then turned it off, and they would count that as a watch.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't mean, that's not being honest.
But to your point, I mean, as opposed to a box office where you, like Avatar, right, the new one that just came out, you can count the money that came in through the box office, right?
Exactly.
Whatever hundreds of millions, we're counting it. But I see. Right.
But what does that mean? But then what does that mean with when you're streaming to the actors, to the writers, to the directors, to IATSE, the folks that do all the background, work, and like, what does that mean to all of them? And I think there's going to be a lot of restructuring of contracts,
trying to figure that out,
a lot more figuring out like what they get paid up front,
so the cost of content's going to go up. I can just see it.
I think it's going to be a little bit of that. There's going to be a little bit of that, and I think we're also going to start a constriction of content, which might not be a bad thing, because there's just so much stuff to watch that you threw out some shows, I threw out some shows, and we're both going like, never heard of that. I haven't heard of that. I don't know about that.
Oh, there's a ton of content out right now.
I think you're going to start seeing a little more constriction, which might not be a bad thing, because hopefully that means that what's left is really good stuff and really high quality stuff. But I think that and the cost are both going to, there's going to be a lot, I think, going on around that this year. All right, here's some other predictions. I think one major social media platform is either going to fold or be purchased this year.
Like?
I don't know.
Well, there's only a couple left.
I know, but
Twitter was just bought. Well,
Instagram.
Facebook,
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, which is part of Meta, right? LinkedIn, you got TikTok, obviously.
Oh, TikTok, yeah.
And you've got some others that have kind of popped up but aren't super popular necessarily as much. But I feel like there's going to be...
So do we feel like TikTok goes away?
I don't know. Like, I mean, if it does, it'll be more of maybe a government regulatory type thing in some way.
I took a straw poll over the holidays with my family, that like the kids that are on TikTok. I said, so if that went away tomorrow, would that be like the worst thing ever? And they're like, no. Okay, well, not really. There you go. Yeah, because they understand it's just garbage.
Yeah.
They totally understand
garbage,
that. It's eye candy garbage, and so. And with YouTube doing shorts now, I mean, there's just, I don't know. Well, anyway,
Well, and that's just it. Somebody will fill the void.
Oh, of course.
I mean, it's like when, what was it, Vine? Remember Vine? When that kind of got, bought and shuttered and, and ran away. Like, there's plenty of other services that came out. And
so wait a minute, back to your prediction. So which one's going away?
I don't really know.
You're just saying something's
I'm just saying in general. I think there's going to be
something's
some kind of cataclysm in social media.
Cataclysm. Wow.
This year.
Okay.
So I just have a feeling.
Then you and I got to come up with a company that, sells advertising, because those advertising dollars are going to go somewhere, and there's billions.
No doubt. Yeah.
Billions.
If your social media advertising dries up, come advertise on the TEConnect podcast.
That's right.
We're happy to take it. It'll be like 10 minutes of content and 40 minutes of ads. Sure that'll go really well. All right, then I'm going to make some other really dumb predictions here. I'm predicting Super Bowl Bills over Eagles.
Okay.
I want to say the Bengals are going to get back there. I would love for it to happen.
A lot of people
hope
think
it does.
The Bills aren't going to make it past Miami. So we'll see.
Come on. There's no way. Miami's starting their third string quarterback. Come on.
No,
that's not
I know. They got a pretty good defense.
But the Bills will have a challenge against the Bengals, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Assuming the Bengals make it past the Ravens, which I don't see that not happening either. I'm probably going to be proven wrong about all this. But I just think the Bills have One, I think they have a lot of momentum on their side. They've been building to it for a while. And then they've got, I think, the emotional angle with the whole DeMar Hamlin thing that I think will
for sure
maybe push them over to the edge there too. And then I'm going to make a World Series prediction, even though we haven't even gotten to spring training.
Okay.
Don't really even know the makeup of these teams, so I'm just throwing this out there. Mets over Blue Jays.
Mets over. You think the Blue Jays are going to make it?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
I think the Blue Jays have been on.
I don't know the team well
I think
enough.
the Blue Jays have been on the cusp for a few years.
Have they now?
Finally maybe crossed that hurdle this year?
Well, I can't even remember when the Blue Jays were in the conversation, shall we say.
90, what was that, 92, 3?
Yeah, okay.
Joe Carter hit that
30 years.
walk-off
30
home run to win the
years
series.
ago.
Yeah. That was back when I was like really, really watching baseball a lot.
Right.
I would just root for everybody.
I love it.
All right, that's all I got. Did you have any other predictions?
I got nothing.
There?
No.
All right, let's talk quickly about the podcast here. Talk about what happened to us on the podcast last year. So
I thought we had a lot of good pods.
We did.
Last year.
I honestly,
Dude,
like I said, I was
48
looking through
of them.
Yeah, I was looking through the list this morning. I'm like, man, we did so much stuff, and like I kept scrolling through, like that was last year too. That was last year too.
Yeah.
So first, I want to
33 subject matter experts, by the way, because I ran some of the statistics. There you go.
So our top 5 episodes by total views, downloads.
Yeah.
Far and away, number 1 was The Store as a Medium with Jay Hutton,
which was on my list of favorites.
I think visibility. I think just did a great job going out there and promoting this pod. Probably,
they did.
We very much appreciate
and
that.
Intel.
They got tons of eyes on it for us. So a lot of folks check that out.
Yep.
The marketing design resources with Barcoding's Crystal Katras. That was one of our top. Crystal's probably out there hustling and saying, "Hey, everybody, go listen to my pod. Good job on your part, Crystal."
Yeah, really.
That's a smart idea. Retail consumer behavior with Honeywell's Tony Boncourt.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was one of my favorites. I felt like it was just
an
awesome, fun conversation. Tony really knows his stuff.
Yeah, he does.
RFID and for manufacturing and warehouse logistics with ADB Tracking's Peter Collins.
Yep.
We had quite a bit of views
on that
one. I'm not counting this as one of the top 5. Tech Bites 8 for some reason.
Yeah.
We got like a boatload of downloads over one random weekend for that episode.
Nice.
So
we must have promoted it in the right spot.
Maybe if
it snowed somewhere and people were looking for a podcast.
Maybe there was just one of the stories we covered just resonated with something.
Nice.
I don't know.
Nice.
And then if we're gonna keep that one out of the loop, the 5th one is consultative selling with Elo's Luke Wilverding.
Wow, you put Luke on anything. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Exactly. That was a great conversation.
Well, a couple that didn't make it there that were on my favorite list would be the Warehouse Tech Survey Deep Dive.
Yeah.
And 111. I think we should do more of that.
We got more of that coming.
I know we got we're even more on the content machine at BlueStar. To the benefit of all these listeners. I mean, lots of good surveying deep dives. And so that was one of my favorites. And the other one was Machine Vision with George over at Pather. I thought that one was really, really engaging. But I just get geeky on that kind of stuff, machine vision, where it's going and all that kind of stuff. So that was on my list.
Okay. I had a couple. So, I love the marketing stuff. I love the one that we did with Cordy at VARTech, the guide to marketing and content creation.
Mainly because we just sat back and listened. But go ahead.
Exactly. That's exactly. And it's also one I feel like is a little criminally underwatched and listened to.
Okay,
so might get out there and boost that one a little bit.
Go watch
and
it.
Get some folks to pay attention to that because I think there was some really good stuff that Cordy threw out there for that. And our Jody Costa episode this year, I think was on email.
She's awesome.
Website, online marketing was fantastic as always. Like I said, I had the Tony Boncourt one. I think from the fun perspective, the Tech That Made Us episode that we did at the end of the year was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Tech Beefs was a lot of fun, where we just sat and complained about technology.
We haven't done a beef in a while, have we?
I think we need to do another one.
We got to bring back a beef.
And of course, our 100th episode.
Yes,
which was just
I was going to make
fun.
Note of that.
It was awesome that we got there. Fun to talk about, and we had a fun round of tech trivia, which we're going to do tech trivia again at some point this year.
Well, so that was on my list of things we should keep doing.
Yes.
We got to bring more people into this studio, right?
No doubt.
Those were good shows. I mean, the trivia, having Sam and Sarah here talking about that was awesome.
I agree.
Yeah,
we
really good.
Definitely got to do more of that. Anything else? Like any other, anything interesting that you learned from the pod this year? Any other stuff you want to make sure that we talk about this year and do?
There's just so hard to parse out what we learned from it. Lots of stuff. Oh, but what we are going to do, we're going to try to go live a couple of times. So that'll be, I'm hoping that pans out and we get a couple people to listen in on it and stuff like that.
Stay tuned on that. I think that's
stay tuned on, the TEConnect Pod Live.
We're going to have hopefully some panelists to talk topics with.
Yes.
It's going to be much more about other people talking than us.
That's right.
Like we'll just sit back and throw some questions out there
and
let all the smart people do all the conversing. So if you're listening and you're thinking like, I don't want to know if I want to watch you guys live, but just know it's not going to be just us. I promise.
And by on that point, we need ideas, right?
Exactly. That leads me right into my next point here. So look, we talk about this all the time. We want to know what you want to hear about. The folks that have reached out to us, that have given their topics and suggestions, there's been stuff we've made episodes about. We just had one a couple months back, the whole new VAR guide to the channel that came from a listener suggestion. We need this stuff. We need content. We can always come up with ideas of what to talk about, and our fantastic partners always have great ideas, but we need to hear from you. So once again, as always, we're asking you to submit your ideas to the show. Every single episode, we always have a link in the show notes where you can go and leave us your suggestion. Just put in your name, put in your email, give us a suggestion just for doing that, just for submitting us an idea, whether we use it or not. And trust me, more often than not, we're probably going to find a way to use it. Or if it's something we've already done, then I can also direct you to an old episode so that, one, save us the time, and you don't have to wait for it. You can get it right then.
There you go.
We will send you a TEConnect podcast t-shirt.
That's right. You still got the shirt going out there.
We still got the shirt going out there.
Soft, beautiful. Yes.
Exactly.
It's exactly what you need.
Who doesn't want to wear a t-shirt for a podcast that no one else has ever heard of, probably that you know? But hey, it's a good conversation starter. It's a great way to start a conversation.
Oh, man.
So as always, look for that link in the show notes. We definitely want to hear from you and what you want to hear about. Again, we have ideas. We have lots of stuff we want to do. But if we're not doing what you want us to do,
that's the most important part about it. Absolutely. So, throw your ideas on the table. Give us something to talk about.
Exactly. All right. Hey, thanks as always to our sponsors, new and old. I'm actually going to run through these here.
Yeah, we got a lot of them.
We've got a list here of some folks that have been doing this for a while and some newbies that have come on board. Let's see. Let's talk real quickly here. We've got Elo, Zebra, Honeywell, Epson, Intel, Toshiba, Star Micronics. Did I miss anybody?
No,
that's sponsoring this year. No, all these sponsors of the TEConnect program that are then by proxy sponsoring us and the podcast. Right. Some of them are doing lots of featured guests. Some of them are doing ads. We always appreciate your support. We thank you so much for supporting this show. This is the one thing I feel like every year when we do this marketing menu and throw out sponsorships, we have no problem getting a bunch of people saying, yes, I want to sponsor the podcast, or I want to sponsor the TEConnect program. And that means also you're going to hear from, there's going to be at least one and more guests from many of those vendors that's going to be on the show, or folks that they recommend having on the show. So we thank them so much for supporting us.
For sure. Absolutely.
I know a couple other lines have already pitched in and said they want to get some SMEs on here too. So
that's what we need, those subject matter experts, so we can all learn.
Exactly. We very much appreciate you guys, and thanks for supporting us for another year. We're going into what is this our fourth year?
Fourth year?
Third?
Holy moly. Fourth.
This is we're starting our fourth year of the podcast here. Yeah. Okay. Whew, time flies. As always, of course, if you would like to, like and subscribe to the show, if you're watching on YouTube right now, hit that like button, leave us a comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not already, because we do all kinds of other fun video content there too. If you're listening on an audio platform, if there's an opportunity to leave a rating and review, especially if you're on Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star rating and review. I'd love to read some of those on the show too. I'd love to get your feedback and read some of those reviews out there. And of course, as always, if you want to stay in touch with us, if you want to reach out to us directly or just chat with us, you can always find us on Twitter at TEConnectPod. You can email us anytime, TEConnect@BlueStarInc.com. All right, let's wrap things up here, Dean. Let's talk about value of the VAR here. Let's get back to some channel talk and some talk about the business here.
Yeah.
So, at the beginning of a new year, everyone starts thinking about what am I going to do with the new year? They start planning ahead. Maybe you're putting together a sales plan or a marketing plan or a target list or your strategy plan of some sort. So what advice do you have for VARs that are looking ahead right now?
I got two.
All right,
we are going back to the basics at BlueStar, and I think that's a good strategy for really any reseller to go back to the basics around your CRM, focusing in on prospects, who your customers are, not the noise that's out there and going after things that are just dead ends. Go back to the basics, maybe get into a little account-based marketing where you go deeper, wider into your accounts. Partners can help enable that. I think that that's where a lot of companies are going back to. We're out of the pandemic. That's in the rear view mirror. Now we got to get back to business, kind of, I don't want to say the old fashioned way, but pick up where we left off and get back to some of those basics. And in doing that, invest in your people. I still think it's an area of where the labor market is still very competitive.
That's a very good point.
So invest in the people that are making your company do great things.
Yeah.
There it is. That's what I think
like
people should be focusing in on.
I agree with all that. The only other thing I'll add here is I think kind of try to break out of a new year same as the old year mentality. And again, I know like we just talked about, everybody's like thinking ahead and planning stuff, whatever. But usually people do that, and then within about a month, they're like, just
a couple hours later.
Yeah,
you went a month.
Right back to what I was on. It's like when you set the fitness goals. You're like, you're at the gym, sweating hard that first week, and then the next week after that, you're pounding down some donuts and. That's it.
Don't let that happen.
Which is why I don't ever make that kind of particular resolution.
Don't let that happen.
So just be careful of that attitude. I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with doing the things you've done. Especially, we've talked about this before. If the things you're doing well, keep doing them well. Yeah. Keep at it. If that's what brings in the business, if that's what attracts people to want to work with you, if that's what you're known for, don't run away from that. Don't say like, all right, I know we've been masters.
Yeah, but we're gonna try something over. Yeah,
we've been masters of mobility, but we're gonna tamp that down this year and go boldly try to do digital signage for some reason. All of a sudden, you don't have to do that. But pay attention to things that are new and on the horizon. Try something new. Try something different. Allocate some resources and time to give something a try at least. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to have to take off. Don't make it something where it's like, hey, we've put so much into this that it has to work, or we're done. And to your point, we're going to start cutting people or whatever.
Right.
But at least be open to the idea of trying new things and experimenting and bringing new solutions in. Adding to that tech stack that you're always talking about. So don't be afraid to do that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Good stuff.
Yep.
Good advice.
All right, let's wrap up as always with our favorite segment, What's TEConnecting with You, where we get to talk about something in the world of science, tech, business innovation that has got our attention. What's TEConnecting with You?
Or maybe I should have used this as a prediction. You and I might be replaced because deepfake is now on voice. Here's the headline. Microsoft unveils VALL-E. VALL-E.
Sounds too close to WALL-E.
But VALL-E, an AI-powered platform that simulates anyone's voice tone based on input audio clips as short as 3 seconds. So if you follow over to the story and whatnot, so Microsoft, they call it VALL-E. It's a neural codec language model, and it builds off technology called encodec, which actually Meta launched back in October, so long ago, back in October of last year. But unlike text-to-speech methods, I'm just reading here, that typically synthesizes speech by manipulating waveforms, VALL-E generates discrete audio codec codes from text and acoustical prompts. It basically analyzes how the person sounds, breaks that information into discrete components called tokens, and then thanks to that encodec, and then uses that to kind of reformulate and create it. I'm telling you, there are some samples on VALL-E, unbelievable. Like you just give it a little bit of whatever, 3 seconds of my voice, and now you give it anything, and it sounds. Now, look, I'm an audiophile, so it still sounds a little bit computerized, but it's daggone
most
close.
People would be fooled, probably.
Yes, most people would be fooled. And what's fascinating, it only needs a little bit of input, and it can give you all kinds of inflections, like everything that I'm talking about, and up and down, and it does all that, and whatever you then input into it. So anyway, John, all we need is a script in 3 seconds of your voice and my voice, and we can automate this.
So in other words, if something happens to either one of us, the pod can still go on.
That's it. Through VALL-E.
Maybe we turn the video off because it might be a little weird, like just have a cardboard cutout of the other one of us up there.
Well, yeah, right.
Right, Dean. I think that.
Well, deepfake in video is there, right? I mean, Intel's got all this stuff. If you go to their partner conference, unbelievable the kind of technology they have to sniff out deep fakes in video. And but I'm talking high quality audio where it's very hard to discern.
Well, and as always, I'm always thinking about the potential dangerous side of all this.
Of course,
of course, how easy it'll be to if you can do the video and the audio now.
But now here's the secret tape of the president saying whatever,
exactly.
or it's just what sounds just like him. Yeah. It was him.
Yep.
That's
Exactly.
it.
And you're never, and there's going to be people that you can never convince otherwise. Yeah.
See all the. I'm not even going to go there. So some government out there that I keep picking on sends you a blackmail of well, we've got you saying this. And you're somebody that's whatever. Yeah. That would be impactful too. Anyway, that's what's Tech Connecting with me. VALL-E. What do you got?
Right. So I always enjoy checking out what comes out of the Consumer Electronics Show.
Ooh, the CES. Yes.
So the 2023 edition happened last week, I guess it was.
Nice. What do we got?
Okay, so I was skimming through some articles this morning to come up with some of my, because a lot of these stuff that you'll see is stuff that you will never actually see in the real world. Some of it will.
Is one of these the car that flies?
No, I didn't see that one.
Did you see that one?
I did not see that one.
Continue on, yes.
There was a lot of car stuff, I can tell you that. There was tons of car stuff. Some interesting ones that came across. There was a few different people that were making weird face mask / headset combos.
Okay.
I can't remember what
face mask headset. Okay.
So it basically was like giant headphones, like kind of what we wear on the podcast.
All right.
Which are a little obtrusive for
over the
day-to-day
ear
life, but also had like a kind of like a face mask piece to them.
Okay.
And they so I
what's the function of that?
The article I was reading, like part of it was to like have just like channel like good air to you, so in highly polluted areas. So it's like you can jam out while also breathing well, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
But then they also pointed out like most of these did not have any capability to help out with like COVID or any kind of transmittable functions.
Yeah.
But apparently one of them, did offer some filters or something that could potentially help out with that. But it was weird because there's several pictures I saw of people wearing these giant headphones with like Bane style masks over their face, and I'm like, what is this?
I'm telling you, we'll get there.
Granted, I guess there are parts of the world where I'm sure it's probably a great idea to be wearing some kind of and so I guess other than the bulky gas mask, something a little more stylish. And the one I saw, and I cannot remember who made it now off the top of my head, I forgot to write that down. It was like retailed for like almost $1,000.
Oh my
$949.
All right.
For this big bulky headset with a face mask.
And it didn't really look all that good, huh?
Yeah, just like I'm like, okay, you want to walk around looking like
I want my Kylo Ren. That's all I want.
Oh, yeah,
that would be kind of cool.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah. We're going to be there someday.
Yeah. So that was one that stood out to me. Right. On the car side, there's a couple that were interesting. Sony and Honda have collaborated because apparently Sony's been trying to get into the car game.
Making a car?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And apparently they'd been showing stuff, kind of concept stuff for a while.
Okay.
Well, now they've teamed up with Honda and actually brought a concept car together.
Get out of town.
A Fila.
All right.
And there was an interesting little note I wanted to add that they put in the article about this. So the car on show boasts 45 sensors, Sony said, along with a digital display on the front bumper. I'm thinking like total Knight Rider, like, give me that back and forth red style.
Yeah.
LiDAR for autonomous driving and 3D graphics made using the Unreal Engine by Epic Games, creators of Fortnite. The first Afeela car will apparently use Qualcomm Snapdragon's digital chassis, a new car platform that integrates telematics, connectivity, driver assistance, and autonomy. Other car brands will be using the Qualcomm chassis as well. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and I think they even showed in the interior, and apparently there's a way to have your screen essentially be like a metaverse style 3D windshield.
Okay.
So I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Either. Well, okay.
I mean, I'm seeing a video of it right now. It looks like a futuristic.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cool looking car. It's a very cool looking car. But again, it's one of those things all right, nice concept, but does this ever actually happen?
Yeah. Okay.
And then another one that was very much on the conceptual side, the BMW iVision D, which has color change panels. And I know we've talked a lot about this in the past too. There's been, a lot of stuff about color change, and apparently it's within seconds you can do color changes of thousands of different
hues. Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
And mostly they were just showing off that capability, I think, more than anything there. And then the one really weird piece of tech I came across called Rollkers, 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 which purports to double the walking speed. So basically, it's like putting tracks under your feet.
Okay.
They kind of describe it as operating kind of like a moving walkway in an airport.
Okay.
So that when you walk, when you take a step, the track's also moving. So it's taking faster, longer steps. So your walking speed gets faster.
Okay.
The person who was reviewing said that it was very loud, which obviously, if it's a concept, maybe they're not quite there yet. But they said they were very loud. It sounded like you're just like a cyborg clanking along of some sort.
Okay. I'm on the website now.
But it's one of those things I'm like,
this ain't going to fly, dude.
Look, Look,
this is not going to fly.
I will be the first to admit I am someone that you put anything between my feet and the ground, and it's a problem. I can't rollerblade. I can't roller skate. I can't skateboard. I can't ski. Like John likes his feet solidly on the ground, or at least planted firmly somewhere. I'm not that guy.
Dude, these rollers are not going to make it because have you seen pictures of them? They look like the old kid roller skates with the little strap, and you just strap them to the bottom of your shoe.
Yeah.
This ain't going anywhere, dude. This is not going anywhere.
I'm just like,
I
really?
like conceptually. I do like the idea of fast walking, maybe. You know, I got to get across the city or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. No.
I found that one quite entertaining. So, I'll put a link in the show notes. I think Wired, is where I found a bunch of coverage, and they had tons of other links to other, like their live blog that they did, and you can do a nice deep dive into all the stuff that came out of CES. So
nice.
I recommend checking it out.
Okay, got it.
All right, that's what's TEConnecting with us, and that is what is starting us off for 2023.
There you go, boom.
We're back at it next week. We'll actually have a guest and an actual discussion to have on the show. I promise you, it's not going to be just us rambling about all the stuff that we like. Thanks again so much for sticking with us. Welcome back. We're glad to have you back for the new year. We're excited about all the pod to come.
Yes.
So,
lots of good stuff this year.
Yeah, exactly. So until next time, I don't know.
Don't go on these rollers. I can tell you that.
Don't take a walk on some rollers. and also, get a good face mask headset combo that costs you a little less than $1,000.
Yeah.
And please stay connected. TEConnect Podcast is brought to you by ELO. All right, Dean, we did some forward thinking on the show today.
Yes, a little predicting.
Yeah, but ELO is always looking ahead, right?
Yeah,
and they're reinventing the touchscreen industry all the time.
Reinventing. Yes. They're awesome at that.
Yeah, that's what they do. Mm-hmm. Introducing the 70 series full HD professional grade touch monitors. The 70 series delivers professional grade, feature-rich platforms well suited for POS, interactive digital signage, self-service document signing, and more. All right, let's talk some features here.
Yes, sir.
Narrow border touchscreen.
Nice.
Everybody likes that these days. You want that big old bezel.
No, you got thin, sleek, got to look good.
Yeah, nice and sleek. Energy Star 8.0 certified.
Always.
Scratch-resistant surface.
Ooh, really?
Very important.
Very important.
You don't want to get all scratched up. Durable IK07 design. Low blue light and flicker-free. Touch on-screen display tilt from 20 to 70 degrees.
Nice.
Built-in speakers. That's always
good. Yep.
And a collapsible stand for Visa mounting. Not bad.
They think
not a lace,
right?
Not a bad
feature rich coming right out of the box.
And that's not even on top of all this stuff that always has.
Modularity.
Yes. Exactly. Available in 22, 24, or 27-inch sizes and black or white housings. The 70 series delivers the quality and reliability you expect from ELO, backed with a standard 3-year warranty extendable to 5 years with optional advanced unit replacement. To learn more and be the first to sell these brand new touch monitors, check out the link in the show notes. TEConnect Podcast is also brought to you by Zebra. All right, if you're selling to public safety organizations, that can be a bit of a challenge. We've talked about before. Government in any sense is...
Yep, it's like this monolith. Right?
Yeah, a little bit challenging.
Yeah, a little challenging.
Tight budgets.
Ooh, tight budgets.
Regularly changing officials.
Yeah.
Resistance to change.
Yep.
Never-ending work cycle. Kind of makes introducing new solutions a little on the difficult side.
Yes, sometimes it can be.
Exactly, but that doesn't make it any less critical to the industry for them to have that technology. So Zebra wants to help get you and your customers up to date. Check out their free ebook called The Case for Updated Technology Within Public Safety Agencies. In it, Zebra highlights how officials recognize the need but may need some guidance to figure out the what and how of modernizing their departments. Hey, you might want to go check out our previous podcast with Tammy Wanless about modernizing government and law enforcement as well.
And then get this ebook. It paints the whole way.
There you go.
There's your road.
That's right. Look for a link in the show notes to download today from BlueStar Nation.